If you haven't been living under a rock recently, you might have heard of the newest TTRPG to hit the media. Many D&D channels have been reviewing and covering it, and I figured that I, Loki, would too share my perspective on this latest creation. Shadowdark is the name of this TTRPG, and what an appropriate name it is. It's a new breed of TTRPG meant to blend older and newer editions of D&D and other TTRPGs together. It has recently finished its Kickstarter, and more than $1.3 million has been pledged by thousands of people to get this game out. It was made by people who started playing D&D at a similar time to myself, but wanted something different. What's interesting is I'm also one of those people. I started playing D&D close to a decade ago, when 5e was in its infancy. I missed out on playing the older editions, and none of my friends groups really wanted to play the older editions or any other TTRPG for that matter. I've watched over the years how 5e has changed and developed, and whilst there are things that I've liked about this development, there are lots of things that I haven't, especially as a Dungeon Master. With everything that's happened during the OGL 1.1 situation, mainly the pushback from WotC to create a more controlling and abusive copyright license that would potentially destroy the livelihoods of many publishers and third-party creators, a lot of people have turned their backs on Wizards of the Coast, realising that perhaps supporting them is not the right move anymore. Adding to the fact that I wanted to run a game where there was a real sense of risk and danger, where I or my players didn't have 50 different safety nets to protect us from certain death, I realised I needed to make changes. And in the last years, I've developed my own homebrew rule set for 5e, and whilst that's great and all, the implementation of supplements like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything empowers players with some of the most busted subclasses in the game. My two examples would be the Gloomstalker Ranger and the Bladesinger Wizard. I've always believed that less is more when it comes to mechanics and classes in D&D, and by making a lot of this stuff official content, you take a lot of power away from the Dungeon Master, and you give a lot of power to the players when it comes to, how to use these different subclasses. I think there are many reasons why Shadowdark has done so well. When I was reading through the Quick Start Guide, it just seemed so impressively put together, and was straightforward and simple to read. The classes seemed easy to understand and made a lot of sense, and the talent system, wow. The talent system was really cool. Every time you level up, you get a 2d6 on a chart, and based on your results, you get some sort of buff or boon to your character. It's basically an ASI, an ability score improvement from D&D, but randomly rolled and decided. Depending on your class, it could be anything from a stat bump, a new spell, or advantage on certain rolls or checks. I really like that progression to your character, and it makes surviving every dungeon far more rewarding. There's also a lot of similarities between Shadowdark and D&D, which has allowed me to understand many of the ideas and mechanics very quickly. I think it'll be very easy to homebrew as well, doing things like classes, perks, talents, and new spells, with it being so close to D&D. And I won't really need to change up how I actually develop and create homebrew for my channel, because, Shadowdark is another D20 system, right? I'm very interested to see how Shadowdark shapes up for the remainder of this year. I imagine a lot of people are going to be coming to the hobby soon with the release of the new D&D movie, and I hope some of these people will watch this video and think, wow, Shadowdark looks really cool. I'm definitely excited, and I've decided I'm going to be live streaming some Shadowdark one-shots on the channel, which I hope you guys will watch. These streams will take place on Sundays, starting at around 12 PM Eastern Standard Time. Apart from that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this review of Shadowdark. I think the developer and the person behind the product is really on the money. She knows what she's talking about. She's gone to loads of conventions actually working and promoting this game, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to shape up. I'll see you guys next time on Loki's Lair. Till then.